Good evening to everybody. We want to thank Miriam Bracha Heimler for sponsoring the Dvar Torah on Parshat Vayishlach. It's to commemorate her first husband, Professor Dr. Eugene Heimler, Mordechai ben Aaron, Zichrona Livracha, on his 35th Yortzat. He was a survivor of Auschwitz who brought light into darkness. He himself was a therapist who, mamash, through his experience, he brought relief and happiness to many people's life. Yehi ratzon shenishmato ta'aleh began Eden, that his neshama should have an aliyah in Gan Eden. In Parshat Vayishlach, we learn about the famous encounter that Yaakov had with a mysterious man, that he wrestled with him till the dawn. And the tradition is that the man that he, in inverted commas, that he wrestled with was none other than an angel, and it was an angel which was the guardian angel of Esav. And in the course of this wrestling, the course of this fighting, which was very intense, as the Torah tells us, it lasted mamash till from the night till the morning. Yaakov was ultimately the victor, but at the time that in the course of this wrestling, the angel managed to injure Yaakov. He gave him a blow to his thigh, and the joint came out of the socket. It was very, very painful. And without going to all what that represents, but because of that injury, Yaakov limped. He couldn't walk properly, and only afterwards, when he came next to Shechem, so that's when it was healed. But that the Torah tells us that as a result of this injury, that the Jewish people don't, in all generations, they don't eat from the sciatic nerve. So a person who wants to eat meat where the sciatic nerve is, you need a nikur, you need a certain person to remove all the nerves and all the sinews, and it's a complicated business. And sometimes, therefore, certain sections, meats are not eaten by the Jewish people. The question that I want to deal with very briefly is in what way or what exactly are we commemorating when the Jewish people don't eat from this this bit of meat, because it's got so many, it's got the sinew and it's complicated to remove it. So there's two approaches, and the two approaches, what they do is they reflect the two approaches that generally people have when commemorating and observing a Yortzat. See, the Torah understands that where our withholding ourselves from not eating a certain part of the food it's a denial. It's an act in which we're minimizing our pleasure. And so that's what we are commemorating. We are commemorating by minimizing our pleasure, by identifying and empathizing with the injury of Yaakov Avinu. And it's similar to the Ashkenazi custom. I don't see many people who in Israel keep this custom. I kept it because in South Africa they kept it, but on the day of the Yortzat, the Shulchan Aruch, in the Ashkenazim, it was done in Shulchan Aruch, the custom is to fast. And the point of the fasting is, number one, that the fasting should be a part of the process of a kapara of atonement, just like we fast on Yom Kippur. So we do some act of atonement as an extra zchut to our parents or to anyone else who we are observing the Yortzat. And also it's expression of identification. The person is passed on from this world, and we identify with whatever pain there was in leaving this world, that we now fast. The same thing, that's similar to what we're saying over here. Yaakov was injured, and we remember this injury. We remember the injury by not partaking of the Gid hanashe. And then the Torah brings that exactly the opposite. That what we do is the whole point of commemorating this injury is to, paradoxically, is that this injury was temporary. The injury now it healed. So with all that Esav, the angel of Esav, tried to inflict damage on Yaakov, and also Esav and Yaakov as being the representatives of the enemies of Israel and Yaakov, the Jewish nation, they weren't successful. And we commemorate the ultimate victory that Yaakov had of Esav, that he didn't manage to kill him, he didn't only manage to injure him, and when he injured him, it was only for a temporary time, and that's what we don't eat. So actually, it's a very counterintuitive, right? Is that the way that when Jews celebrate something of a victory, something of a simcha, they dafka do eat, and what we're doing is we're not eating. Right? So we're not eating because b'chol open, this victory had a certain price to it. And according to this approach of what we're commemorating, you see that today in the Hasidic world and in the Sephardi world. So the whole commemoration of a Yotzeit takes on a very festive way, the festive characteristics. In other words, you go to many times, people make a l'chaim dafka. They don't fast on the Yotzeit. They make a l'chaim because they believe, as Miriam wrote in the message, that it hopes that the neshama will go from one level to another in Gan Eden. It will go to an elevated level. So we express our simcha that the neshama from year to year goes up a level, but not fasting, adarabah, by being happy, by making a l'chaim, by eating extra, besides the learning that we do. This is another way to do it. So these two ways of how we commemorate, and what's the reason that we commemorate, or not the reason, at what point are we commemorating in the saga, right? There was wrestling, there was a fighting, and then there was victory. So at what point in this whole timeline are we commemorating? Are we commemorating the injury? That's the first approach. Or we are commemorating the end of this this confrontation, which is the victory. Right? I just want to end off that I asked before that what sense does it make to say that Nachon, there was a victory, and to celebrate the victory by not eating something which is like a very choicest part of the meat of the animal. So the Rosh says something very interesting. The Rosh says that the commemoration of not eating Gid hanashe, it's like chastising the Jewish people. It's imparting a very important lesson, because it's like this. How did Yaakov land up fighting the angel of Esav? He was alone. Now, how come he was alone? How come his children allowed him to be alone? Okay, they know that they're in a precarious situation. They know their father has told them now that he's going to confront Esav. They're making all the preparations. He divides up the camps. Then over the Yabok, he crossed over the river, and the Chazal say because he had forgotten certain utensils, certain vessels, etc. But okay, you know that he's in a dangerous situation. So how come none of the children accompanied him? How come he was alone? And that's the commemoration. The commemoration is we never allow another Jew to be alone. And as a punishment, so to speak, right, to remember that you left him alone and you want to eat to your full and you want to have a quality type of meat. Now to remember now as you sit down to eat and you feel that you're satisfied and you feel everything's good, remember that once upon a time right? That you didn't now like support your father. You didn't now go and accompany Jacob. So don't let satiety, don't allow feeling full, sitting down in a meal, ever erase that lesson that one always has to remember that there might be another Jew in distress. Right? So the unterste of all this is that with victory comes at a price, and we never forget the price that we pay, right? Even though we are victorious. So Shabbat Shalom L'Kulam.